Welcome back to the next devlog for Game Theory. We've made a lot of progress behind the scenes, including working on paper and figuring out what I want to do for at-home manufacturing. Want to share some of that with you, some manufacturing research that I've done, and what it might look like to kickstart the game. And then I've also been working in the print file, getting the instructions and some other icons all built and further down the road. So let's get this started and let's go. So before we get too far, I want to talk a little bit more about the work I've been doing to find a replica bicycle card. Now, this has been my goal, is to make a replica bicycle deck, something that's got the same snap and ability to shuffle. So this has been quite a challenge, and I've spent a long time coming with all these different solutions. Each one of these is actually a different way of manufacturing a card at home, such as laminating cards and using different paper weights, paper types, and all that jazz. And we finally refined it down to right here, which is what I think is the closest replica to a bicycle card you can actually get. And I want to talk about that in a future episode, but I just wanted to give you some perspective on all the work that's been going into this. I finally found the paper that I'm going to be using for my at-home manufacturing and what process that looks like. And let's jump over here and I'll show you where I ended up. Closest thing I have found in terms of thickness and in terms of snap and shuffle ability. So check this out. So I took the knowledge that I got from making these riffle shuffle cards, my replica bicycle cards, to game theory and manufacturing it here. And I came up with three solutions. Number one was this card, which, for your understanding, and I'm going to do another video on this, is a double-sided 24-pound linen piece of paper laminated in between one laminate pouch and ran through the laminator twice on high heat to make sure it adheres really well. I tried normal laminate and it's super terrible. It looks terrible, it's super shiny, not good at all, but this matte stuff is pretty freaking awesome. Makes the cards look and feel really polished. So that's what I did here. Now the problem, which I didn't discuss just a minute ago, is these cards are slightly see-through, and you probably can't see that on your end, but you can see through them. There's no core, so if there's light behind the person when they're holding their hand, you'll be able to see what they're holding. Now for game theory, just like a deck of playing cards, that becomes an issue because this card specifically, you don't want to be able to see what the person's placing down on the table. Now once it's on the table, there's no way you're going to see through it. It's just when there's light behind it. So I decided to do two more iterations. Number one was this same linen paper, but this time I did the print on one side and then I printed the other side black and I folded it. Folded the piece of paper in half with my print, so now I have 6 cards on one sheet. Put that in between a laminating pouch and then I ran that through the laminator and got a heavier card because it was double 24 pound and a black core, so now you can't see through it. My concern was I had to use quite a bit of spray glue in the middle of these cards. Now I haven't really found any issues with them peeling, but honestly, anytime you add glue into the mix, doing this, it can get pretty dicey because I don't know the long-term strength and durability of these cards if they will start peeling, and I did have some of my own in different tests peel. The last test I decided to do was get a new paper stock, which I had talked about a paper stock earlier. I think I found like 2 months ago. That's probably the closest I've ever been able to get just straight off the printer that feels like real cards. They're just thicker. I bought the same paper from them, but it's thinner. So this is 80-pound paper, I believe, and this is perfect. You can see through it just a tad, but I mean, it's not going to be anything that's noticeable unless you're staring at the sun. But this, with the laminating pouch, provides a super nice finish, a little anti-reflection on there, protects the cards in case you spill any water, and they have snap. So with these cards, you can bend them and they go back straight. I mean, you can't You can't do that with paper, and it sounds nice. So, durability, check. Finish, check. And this is how I'm going to manufacture my cards at home. And it's pretty simple and straightforward, but it just takes quite a bit of time. Next thing I've been working on is getting the instructions done. I don't particularly like doing the instructions, but they need to fit on the 2.5 by 2.5 inch cards. So you can see here, I decided to change the font. I found some cool fonts that I like. I think I'm really close with the logo. Might need to make the gray a little darker. But basically getting that all put together. So this was my printer running out of ink, but you can see double-sided, so I'll have 6 cards to explain all my rules. And I've even been able to fit a few cool things on here. So this is what it might look like, one of the board layouts to help people understand. And I did come up with the new icons that I'm going to use. Let me just show you quick what my file looks like. The way this lays out is this is card 1, and this is the back of that same card. This is card 2, this is the back of card 2. And this board will help people understand. This is the new icons that I've decided to go with. We've got shift up, we've got dice swap and rotate. And if you look at what those look like on the cards, I think they look pretty good as things get loaded in here. I think those look pretty sweet. It'll be a great way for people to understand quickly how the modifiers work, specifically when they're paired with these instruction cards. Another big chunk of my time has been doing manufacturing research and just Kickstarter research in general. Over here on the screen, I have my quote, one of my quotes from a company called Print Ninja. Not endorsing them or anything. They just have an online quote builder, so you can do it yourself. Makes it really simple to kind of get a gauge on what it might look to manufacture a full deck and in a production run. So for 500 units, I'm looking at $23.57 roughly for 500 units, $471 each. That's without shipping. Shipping on the next page was like an extra 300 or something like that. But what that would be is square cards. We would be doing 110 cards per deck. I know I had talked about smaller amounts previously, I think at 71, but we just need way more physical cards with the dice cards so you can have more options to play. It'll make it a lot more fun. Blue core standard 280. Every back of the card's gonna be different. I did gloss with the linen texture. Gloss isn't like hyper gloss, but it will look nice. Tuck box and a shrink wrap around that, and that will be textured as well. And then I'll be doing the instructions on the card as you've seen. So this kind of, if you're interested in how all this is working, I'm glad you're here. I think this is pretty cool just to see these numbers and really put it in perspective. Now, if I pull up Kickstarter's funding calculator, we can kind of get another estimate for what it might look for a Kickstarter campaign. Now, I'm still trying to figure some things out for really pricing out the Kickstarter campaign. But as it stands now, we're looking at like between $3,000 and a $4,000 goal for this to work. And my goal in getting this game kickstarted is to break even. I just want to get a manufacturing run done and the units out to everybody who supported, and that's my goal. I'm not trying to make money. I just want to be able to have a physical game that I've produced, got it in the hands of other people who really enjoy the game, and just have a blast doing that. So that's how I'm trying to minimize my costs, by not bloating it with grandiose visions of making a bunch of money, because that's not realistic. I think you're pretty caught up to where I am at with game theory. Just plugging away on the design file and getting the print and play ready for myself and for Kickstarter and whatnot. We're thinking May, maybe June for the Kickstarter launch date, but all in all, this game is pretty much done. I just need to really hammer out the rules, and if you're interested in maybe testing this game, let me know. I need to get some third-party input on how the instructions flow and if they're easy to understand. That might require you to print some stuff off, a couple of sheets, but nonetheless relatively simple. Another project I'm working on is getting the video all set up, or I'm getting that prepared. I'm gonna do a video tutorial on how to play the game once I get my final manufacturing, at-home manufacturing one done with these style cards. I think the thing I'm most proud of is probably the cards that I've produced for game theory, and figuring out how to make these at home and make them feel actually real, not just a homebrew concoction. I'm gonna be making a video on how I got to this step in the process and how you can make your own cards at home. They'll be separate from the devlog series because I still need to work on game theory, but if you like what you see, drop a like and comment below. Specifically, if you have questions, I'd love to hear and be able to answer anything for you guys as I do my research and plug away at this process. Until next time, I'll see you later, and peace out.